We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider Rapid Reactions Edition presented by Modelo. This comes after the Tar Heels get a 96-81 victory over Virginia Tech in the Smith Center on Saturday afternoon. Tar Heels pick up their 20th win of the season, 64th time in Carolina history that the Heels have won 20 or more games in a year. Jones and Adam here with you. Soon you're going to hear from Hubert Davis and Armando Bacot. And Adam, good choice to talk to Bacot today. 25 points, 12 rebounds. He was a part of Carolina's domination down low. Heels end up with 54 points in the paint, plus 12 in the rebounding category, plus 8 in the second chance category. And that felt like that's where this game was decided. That and Carolina's quality defense on the perimeter, but particularly the Tar Heels flexing their muscles down low.
Yeah, I mean, when it's that version of Armando Bacot and Carolina shooting the way they shot, which was okay, 7 for 21 from 3, not fantastic, but better. The Tar Heels are really hard to guard, and Armando Bacot, Virginia Tech, tried to double-team him, and he successfully either passed out of it or just bowled right through it and scored anyway, and he was very, very good.
Adam, I mentioned the defense on the perimeter. Virginia Tech in the second half was 1 of 12 from three-point range. I believe it was the 11th three that they took that they finally made, and it was in the final minute of the game when the outcome was no longer in doubt. If I'm not mistaken, they started 6 of 11 from 3. That would mean they were 1 of their last 15 from behind the arc. Some of those were open shots that didn't go in, as happens in the game of basketball, but good to see Carolina's defense, at least statistically, bounce back a little bit after Tuesday's game against Syracuse.
And to do it against statistically one of the best three-point shooting teams in the conference. That's not a bunch of bums. Virginia Tech, that's how they win, is by being efficient shooters, and Carolina was able to take them out of that and kind of give them some of their own medicine because the Tar Heels were so efficient offensively.
Yeah, Carolina ends up shooting 51.5% for the game, including a whopping 57% in the second half, where they were 17 of 30 from the field. That includes going 13 of 21 from two-point range. So above 60%, well above 60% from two-point range for Carolina in the game in the second half. Okay, I talked to Hubert Davis. Adam talked to Armando Bacot. Those 25 points for Armando tied a season high, the double-double. I believe it's the 5th consecutive double-double this year for Bacot. So we'll get to both of those interviews, come back, and wrap things up on the back half here on a Rapid Reactions edition of the Carolina Insider. We're inside the Continental Tire Coach's Corner alongside the head coach of Carolina basketball. That, of course, Hubert Davis. Carolina wins it 96-81 over Virginia Tech. And, Coach, your team offensively from the start looked really good today, shot better than 50%. Seemed like a very heavy emphasis to get the ball down low, which you did very well. Your thoughts on today's win?
Yeah, we just, it's always been an emphasis for us to, attack and dominate points in the paint through post-penetration, offensive rebounding. And I feel like over the last 2.5 weeks, there have been a number of times where we have gone away from that. You mentioned to me, and, for the last 5 games prior to today, I mean, we were shooting more threes than free throws. And, our ability to get to the basket, to score in the paint, to live at the free throw line is just huge for us offensively. And so I thought the post in terms of Armando was great. I thought the penetration of our guards, Elliott and RJ and Seth, getting the ball to the basket, and the offensive rebounds. Our guys, our 3, 4, and 5 were, if we didn't get it, we kept it alive. And I thought the activity on the offensive end was really good.
In the second half in particular, Armando was incredibly effective. What allowed him to be so effective in that second half?
His desire and his willingness to get low position. I mean, it takes hard work. You can call whatever play you want to. If the guy is not going to work hard to catch it where we need him to catch it in order to be able to score, it just doesn't work. And so for Armando, his positioning and where he was able to catch the ball resulted in him scoring or getting fouled. He nearly fouled out 2 of their bigs, and they just had no answer for him. And then something else, talk about the growth and especially things that I think go unnoticed. Armando, his ability to handle the double team has just gotten better and better. And this year, it's really good. This is something that he's worked really hard on. And when they started to double, he was able to make just the easy play, the right play, and be able to find guys out there on the perimeter. And so now, as well as he's handling the double team, now teams are going to have to say, do we want to leave RJ wide open or do we want to double the post? And it's because of the growth of Armando, and I was really proud of him.
Armando finished 25 points, 12 rebounds, one of two Tar Heels. Harrison Ingram also had 12 points and 17 rebounds in this one. And just a stat to follow up what Coach was talking about, Tar Heels took 23 free throws today and 21 three-pointers, so more free throws than three-pointers today for Carolina. Coach, your bench was really good for you there in the month of January. Feels like it's been a tough couple of games for them, but today Jalen Withers was active, Jalen Washington was active, Seth Trimble back and healthy, great to see. Felt like they made an impact today.
They made a huge impact for us. Jay Witt, his activity, he kept balls alive. He ran down that in transition and got that block. I felt, the two practices before this, I just kept telling him, now that's what we can do. That's what you need to do all the time. And I just felt like his energy and his effort was just really good out there. You talked about Seth and Jay Wash. I thought they gave us really good minutes. Jay Wash was going up against some really big guys down low on the post, and so he had to battle and rebound and be able to score. And then, having somebody as good as Seth coming off the bench, that's just a huge benefit. A guy that's been there before in terms of experience, being a sophomore, his defense, his ability to penetrate, the plays that he made, skip passes, and he drove, being able to enter the ball down low to Armando is just huge. And so we got some really good minutes off the bench.
Two more things, Coach. Sean Padula and Hunter Couture, two great veteran players. They were 6 of 23 and 1 of 10 from three-point range.
Gone next year.
Couture is definitely done. Padula can hang around, but Couture is done. What would you guys do well against them in your mind?
Well, we made them work, even full court dead ball situations, we didn't allow Padula to even get the ball. And so, he had to work hard just to get it back because he's the guy, he has 98 assists. The next closest guy is 54. So he's the guy that starts and finishes the offense. So we wanted somebody else to start it and finish it, and that would be good news for us. And so we made him work. I thought we did a good job making Couture work as well. The movement off the ball of those two guys is elite. The way that they come off screens, use screens, it's just real, and it's very difficult to defend. And I felt like in the second half, they started to get downhill on us on those down screens and curls and Chicago actions. But for the most part, I thought we did a really good job against them.
Last thing, Coach, you guys finally get to this point where you don't have a midweek game this week, so you get a little bit of time to recover, to rest. Feels like this comes at a good time for your group.
We need it. We just do. It's been a good grind, but it's been a lot. Yeah. There's, was it 15 games and 8 of them we were on the road and traveling all over the place. And, Saturday, Tuesday games are difficult. And this week is a week for us to catch our breath. It's a week for us to get even healthier and rest our bodies. But it's also a week for us to practice. And we've been practicing, but we've been preparing for a game in practice. Now we get to practice, and so I think that's going to give us a great opportunity to tighten the screws on the little things that make big things happen, especially on the defensive end.
Tar Heels made big things happen today, beating Virginia Tech 96-81. Heels win 20 games in a season for the 64th time in Carolina basketball history. Coach, congratulations on the win, and look forward to talking with you this week.
All right, well, next week.
Next week. And you can't get away from me that fast, Coach, but we'll talk to him soon. That's the head coach of the Tar Heels, guys, inside the Continental Tire Coach's Corner.
Alongside Armando Bacot, after Carolina puts up 96 in a 15-point win over Virginia Tech. Felt like a really efficient offensive game. What'd you do well team-wise to get such good looks?
Well, our approach all week has just been trying to fix the small details that we haven't been working on the last few weeks. And I thought we did a great job today, and our approach was amazing, and everybody ate today, so it was a lot of fun.
What small details were better today?
Setting legal screens and just doing the little things like getting to the glass, boxing out, cutting, doing those small things to open up the offense for everybody.
Coach Davis has bragged on the way you've handled double teams here the last month or two. Virginia Tech eventually tried to double you, and you handled it really well. What are you doing better against that defense?
It's being patient and strong with it and taking my time. I think today I did a really great job of just finding shooters and finding guys. And, when I'm doing stuff like that and the guy's knocking it down, it just opens it up for me. You can't double me.
And there were a couple times where they tried to double you and they still couldn't stop you, where you got the ball on the block and decided, I'm just going to score here. What happens in the flow of the game to make you decide, this is the time I'm going to the rim?
Really just getting the feel of how they guard me and being quick and decisive. I mean, I think that's the main thing. When I hold it, that's when a lot of times troubles come. But when I just go, I mean, it works.
Been a lot of chatter this week. What's practice been like the last couple days as you try to just get back to the team that we saw this afternoon?
Intense and competitive, but that's the type of team we are. And when we have that competitive edge and that intenseness about us, it's hard to beat us.
They have been really competitive. Some 33s at stake. When there's a 33 at stake, how much incentive is that to win that part of practice?
I mean, nobody wants to run, but I think it did a great job of carrying over to the game, just that competitive fire in practice. When you practice, you play how you practice.
Felt like this was the best overall game from the bench in a couple of weeks. When you get solid minutes from them and you only have to play maybe 30 instead of 34, what difference does that make in the final minutes?
It's great. We have more legs. It allows us to play harder throughout the game. And, I mean, it's great just seeing the bench guys go out there and get their confidence and go get buckets because they work so hard in practice, especially this week, too, with us mixing it up. I think it really helped the bench guys get in the flow.
This is a late part of the season to have this week off. How beneficial will it be to not have to play that midweek game, maybe rest some nagging injuries?
It'll be great for rest, but it'll also be great for us to address some of the problems and struggles that we've had. And, I mean, we got a great coaching staff, so it'll be a good week, and we'll definitely get better.
If you could address one thing individually this week, what would it be?
Get some rest.
If you could address one thing team-wise this week, what would it be? What's one thing you'd want to be better in Charlottesville on Saturday?
That's just tightening the screws defensively and also being smart and not turning the ball over because, playing against UVA with their slow offense, I mean, one turnover is like 3 turnovers against them.
That's good analysis from Armando Bacot right there. He's right. Tar Heels beat Virginia Tech today, 96-81. Mondo, thank you.
So Carolina maintains its first-place position in the ACC. The Tar Heels needed this win to do so, both Duke and Virginia, the teams that are right now battling Carolina for first place in the league. Both those teams won on Saturday, so the Tar Heels remain a half a game ahead of Duke and a full game ahead of Virginia. Of course, the Heels have road trips to both of those places coming up in the final 5 games of the regular season. Adam, I mentioned this in the conversation with Coach Davis, and I think maybe you and Armando Bacot talked somewhat about this subject too. Felt like some good production off the Carolina bench today as Washington, Withers, and Trimble combined for right around 39 minutes of action between the 3 of them. They combined for 15 points, 4 assists, no turnovers, a couple steals and blocks as well. And Washington and Withers each had 2 rebounds in the game too. So some productive minutes from the 3 top guys off the Tar Heel bench.
And felt like it was testament to you don't always have to get scoring from the bench for the bench to be effective.
Yeah.
Jalen Withers was just around the ball the whole time he was out there. That Jalen Withers is a difference maker in a close game. If you can bring that type of energy off the bench, that's huge. Jalen Washington really good. And then Seth Trimble, I think we all kind of think of him as this little offensive dynamo scoring-wise, driving to the basket. 4 assists and no turnovers, and that was big because Carolina got a little wary of Elliot Cadeau's turnover issues and decided to put Trimble in late, and he responded, ran the team well.
So Carolina again wins at 96-81 and do not have a game in the midweek. I thought Coach Davis seemed very happy with the fact that they had reached this point where he could have a little bit of time to rest individually as a team and also work together as a team. As now, Adam, final 5 games of the regular season. Good news is Carolina has 3 games at home. The difficult news is the 2 road trips are against the 2 teams that they're battling for first place. So huge stretch here coming up starting next Saturday in Charlottesville, a place the Heels haven't won since 2012.
Where else would you want to be with 5 games left, but you control whether or not you win the ACC regular season? This is where the Tar Heels would have wanted to be back in October, and now they've got a chance to do it. But first, they get to rest a little.
Yeah. Carolina wins at 96-81 over Virginia Tech. Thanks for joining us here on a rapid reactions edition of the Carolina Insider presented by Modelo.